And so I say to you, you are Peter. I will give you the keys of the kingdom. Upon you I will build my church. The famous account of Jesus handing over the keys of the kingdom to Simon of Galilee and giving him the new name Cephas, Peter, the rock. What might we notice here? First, Jesus changes Simon's name. This is a signal. In the scriptures, whenever God changes someone's name, it's a momentous occasion. It signifies who Simon is in the eyes of God and what his role will be in God's plan. The name Cephas, or Peter, means rock, foundation. God sees that Simon is to be essential for the foundation of his church. You are Peter, and upon Peter I will build my church. But there's more. Next, we see Jesus promise the keys of the kingdom. And this is massively significant. Keys. What's going on here? How would a first century Jew understand this promise of the keys? Here Jesus is alluding to the Old Testament, to the prophet Isaiah. And in this sense, the papacy is not some kind of new invention, but Jesus was bringing to fulfillment that account from Isaiah chapter 22. And that was the first reading today. And it's a reminder that first reading at Mass is always meant to help us understand the gospel. And today, the first reading and the gospel have a particularly strong connection. So what's the context in Isaiah chapter 22? Well, what's being described is the kingdom of David. And this is about 800 years before the time of Jesus. And at that time, there was a certain office in the kingdom that was second only to the king. There's the royal Davidic king. The king, he's the leader of the people. But second in command to him was this figure called the Al-Biat. The Al-Biat. Translated means the one over the house, or in charge of the house. And that person was in charge of the king's house. And after the king, he had full authority. Essentially, he was like the prime minister of the king. And so Isaiah, in that first reading, he's speaking about this office, the office of the Al-Bayat. And Isaiah, in this reading, he's prophesying about the transfer of that office from one man to the next. And so how do we know which man has that authority? Who is the Al-Bayat, the one over the house? We go back to the second reading, and there's these key images. The Lord says, I will place the key of the house of David on his shoulder. What he opens, no one shall shut. What he shuts, no one shall open. That just sounds familiar. Because this is exactly what Jesus is promising to Peter. The keys and the authority to bind and to loose on his behalf. Jesus, of course, who is the king of the kingdom. Jesus is giving Peter the office, though, of being in charge of the house, especially while the king is away. Jesus, who knew that he would be ascending to heaven, our king ascends to heaven, but he leaves the keys to his kingdom, in other words, his authority, with Peter, his second in command, the one on earth. And what's so marvelous and beautiful is that the teaching of the papacy, it's not some kind of invention or thing that we came up with as a church, but this is the scriptural account of how God himself has given this office of the papacy to the church. And as Catholics, we can know that it's not us, but Jesus himself who established the structure of our church. We can be assured that it was Jesus himself who gave us this office of the papacy, where there is one who's in charge of the house of our church on earth. And most assuredly, we can trust that promise, the promise that comes here that Jesus gives, that not even the gates of hell can prevail against it.